Even as the UAE hosts key US military bases and has been at loggerheads with Iran for launching strikes on its soil, a powerful Dubai tycoon has now stepped in reportedly to question US President Donald Trump over his rationale to start this war. Billionaire businessman Khalaf Ahmad Al Habtoor, who is the chairman of the Al Habtoor Group, openly slammed Trump for taking a dangerous decision, quote unquote. In fact, he said, I'm quoting, "Who gave you the authority to drag our region into war with Iran?" Quote unquote. That's what he said. He also questioned Trump on whether he calculated the collateral damage before plunging the region into war. And he also took a swipe at the US president's Gaza Board of Peace, highlighting the contradiction between this initiative's commitment to peace and the current military escalation. Additionally, he opined that the war puts American lives at risk as well. His criticism assumed significance as he publicly built good ties with Israel after Trump brokered the Abraham Accords. He also has no record of criticizing Trump or his policies. Al Habtoor also served as a member of the UAE Federal National Council and chairman of the Commercial Bank of Dubai. And if you look at how the war has unfolded, Iran has ended up launching missile and drone strikes at multiple countries, including Syria, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, and others. What makes the scenario unprecedented also is that Iran has reportedly launched far more drones and missiles at Gulf countries than Israel since the commencement of the war. As per a US-based conflict monitoring group, Iran fired 255 drones and missiles towards Israel, whereas it launched 2,171 drones and missiles towards Gulf countries during the same period. And over 1,100 of these attacks were aimed at the UAE alone. So far, the UAE has claimed to have intercepted over 1,000 drones, 250 ballistic missiles, and 8 cruise missiles coming from Iran. Earlier in the day, residents of Dubai also received an alert on their phones urging them to take shelter from potential missile threats. Like we said previously, Dubai and Abu Dhabi international airports came under attack. Also, fire erupting close to the US embassy in Dubai as well, owing to the Iranian drone attack. Shifting our focus now to Lebanon, where Israel is carrying out fresh waves of strikes in Beirut, pushing thousands of civilians out of their homes. And amid all of this, Hezbollah has deployed its elite Radwan forces to southern Lebanon to confront advancing Israeli troops. Powerful explosions were reported in Beirut after the Israeli military launched a new series of airstrikes. Massive plumes of smoke could be seen rising from the southern suburbs of the city, areas known to host Hezbollah strongholds. And the Israeli military has said it carried out 26 waves of airstrikes overnight, targeting what it described as Hezbollah command centers and weapons storage facilities. At the same time, Israel has issued large-scale evacuation orders for parts of southern Lebanon and Beirut's southern suburbs. Those warnings have forced many families to flee with little time to prepare. The United Nations Human Rights Chief says the scale of the evacuation orders is raising serious concerns under international law. And the impact on civilians is already visible. In the heart of Beirut, dozens of displaced families spent the night outdoors after escaping the areas targeted by the Israeli airstrikes.
We're sleeping here in the streets. Some are sleeping in their cars, some are sleeping on the street, some on the beach. We are homeless. They displaced us and we left. This is what they call displacement.
And while the airstrikes continue, tensions also rising along the Israel-Lebanon border. Israeli military vehicles have been seen moving towards the border, including a truck carrying an Israeli tank. Even as smoke from the fresh strikes could be seen rising in the distance. Hezbollah is now preparing for direct ground combat. According to a Reuters report, the group has sent fighters from its elite Radwan unit back into southern Lebanon, ordering them to confront the Israeli forces and slow the advance of the Israeli tanks. These fighters have reportedly been deployed to several frontline areas, including the town of Qiyam, where Israeli troops reportedly pushed forward earlier this week itself. That's the location on the map. Now, Hezbollah, remember, entered the war earlier this week after launching rockets and drones towards Israel, the group saying the attacks were retaliation for the killing of Iran's supreme leader in that US-Israeli strike. Since then, Israel, remember, has intensified military operations across southern Lebanon. Hezbollah leader also warning in a televised address that the group will resist what he called an Israeli plan of occupation and expansion. The Radwan fighters, now returning to the south, had previously withdrawn from the region after the 2024 war between Israel and Hezbollah. Under the US-brokered ceasefire agreement, those forces had moved north of the river. Also known as Unit 125, the force is reportedly Hezbollah's most capable and best trained combat unit. Its strength is estimated to consist of 2,500 to 3,000 elite fighters divided into small assault battalions and platoons. They have reportedly been trained by North Korean special forces. Hezbollah is once again mobilizing its forces, and with Israeli troops pushing deeper into Lebanese territory, the risk of this war spreading even further is growing. And speaking of which, just to get you a better sense of where things stand right now, the way they stand right now, these are the visuals coming up. These are the visuals from on the ground from Lebanon's capital. This is following fresh Israeli strikes. In fact, you can see in those images rows of buildings seen on fire, the clouds of smoke billowing out. That's just a sample of the kind of impact those strikes have had on the ground. These are the latest images that we are getting to you. Missiles continue to rain across West Asia as the war continues to widen. US-Israel saying together they are dismantling Iran's war machine, but Iran has also shifted its tact on missile barrages. Our next report decoding how Iran plans to try and exhaust US-Israeli defenses. Take a look.
Sporadic warnings. Fireballs in the night sky. Thunderous interceptions, earth-shaking booms, and a familiar scramble for shelter. For many Israelis, the initial days of fighting with Iran felt like a resumption of the June war. Yet, Iran's response to US and Israel's relentless strikes has been different this time. Experts say Tehran has prepared itself for a long-drawn battle. A huge number of missiles and drone inventories have been tucked deep inside mountains where American air or missile strikes cannot reach.
Iran is trying to raise the cost on the United States and its allies in the region by firing in every different direction, by pressuring those pro-American allies in the region that have military bases to send a message that if Iran can't exist in the Middle East, and if it's going to go down, then other countries are going to have to pay the price.
Iran has adopted a tacit approach. Its daily missile and drone salvos have declined by 80% since the first day of strikes. Tehran has shifted its tack on missile barrages. The strategy is to fire smaller and consistent barrages targeting wider areas and critical infrastructure. The idea is simple. Iran wants to exhaust US-Israeli defenses and preserve its arsenal. In the past 1 week, Iran appears to have hit Gulf states more than it targeted Israel. It has widened the scope of its retaliation. with the bulk of its fury directed at targets in the Arab countries of the region. So far, Iran has carried out strikes on at least 11 Gulf and West Asian countries since February 28th. As the war rages on, there are fears that the inventory of Patriot and Tomahawk missiles may run out soon. The availability of Patriot missiles in the war zone is estimated to be around 600 to 800 only. Also, for any incoming missile from Iran, 4 to 6 interceptors are fired. With an estimate of over 200 missile interceptors already fired, it is feared that Israel and the US may run out of interceptors in the coming days. There are reports that the US is mulling to shift some Patriot missiles from Japan and South Korea to augment the inventory. The US says for Iran to hope that Washington can't sustain war effort is the biggest miscalculation.
If you think you've seen something, just wait. The amount of combat power that's still flowing, that's still coming, that will be able to project over Iran is a multiples of what it currently is right now when you add up our capabilities and those of the Israeli Defense Forces.
The conflict has entered the second week, but the tables have turned sooner and faster than expected. Iran, battered by unstoppable airstrikes, has refused to bow down and surrender. Instead, it has unleashed a strategy that has not only caught Israel, the US, and the entire region by surprise, but it also is imposing costs upon Israel and the US, which may become unbearable soon. Bureau Report, WION World is One.